It's good, YouTube. Quinn Way coming to out with a video. Dougie McDermott. Dougie McBuckets gets his 3-year deal. Um, at the end of the day, he's a quality backup. He's a quality starter. He's not going to start that much because of his defense, but he can knock down the corner and spot up threes. He still has a little bit of scoring mentality. He doesn't really get a chance to play the game the way he wants to. He mostly has to do what's best for the team. He has to basically be like a role player. We need you to do these specific things, and if you can't do that, you're not as valuable as as anything else. And like I said, it's a lot of things that I don't like about coaches, and that's not allowing the players to be play their maximum way. And what I mean by that is they so fixated on making you fit in that you can't play your game. You can't show all of your talents unless you're that superstar guy. And if you are, you're playing off that superstar guy, or you are the superstar guy. And Doug McDermott was one of those guys that when he got drafted, everybody was saying he's the steal of the draft. Chicago got a steal. He can play. This is a good pickup for them. And 2 years later, he was off the roster. One thing I would say, though, coming into this season, even though he got traded a couple times throughout these last couple seasons, he has really been a professional about it. He hasn't been whining. He hasn't been complaining. He's still been going out there playing hard, contributing the best way he can, even if it's as a spot-up shooter. This isn't the way we thought his career would go. We definitely thought he'd be one of the better scorers in the league, at worst a sixth man. He hasn't really become that. He has become just a set still, shoot a three, move around every once in a while, and go right back to the bench. He doesn't get quality minutes. He doesn't get no touches outside of spot up threes majority of the time. It's kind of tough to see that a guy like him has a lot of potential, and he has a lot of ability. And coming out of college, he improved and got better each season to the point where he was a lottery pick. And obviously, we haven't really seen no growth or improvement of dominance. He hasn't even came close to averaging 18 points. And that's something that Chicago probably wouldn't even think was going to be possible when they drafted him. And he has been a disappointment, but it's also the way that teams utilize him, and it's also his role on teams that underutilize him. In Indiana, this is a team that is up and coming. Miles Turner is a guy that I definitely want to see what he does in the future, because I feel like he has a lot of potential. He can play off a guy kind of like OKC, where he can play off a guy like Victor that is a player that can space out the floor but also handle the ball and create opportunities for other players. And especially shooters, especially with, like I said, the pick and roll with Miles Turner and other bigs. And Victor is an unselfish all-star. He likes to make the right pass. He likes to make sure people touching the ball. And he's the best player on his team. But it is some other guys that you have to worry about with this deal. You have Bojan Bogdanovic, a guy that's going to get a lot of those minutes, right? That's going to be the primary guy he's fighting for with minutes. But he does add, a solid backup to this team under Bogdan. They gives a guy that can shoot the three and space out the floor when he's injured or when he's not healthy. And at the end of the day, that's something that is valuable with the type of contract that he's on. And the 3-year, $22 million ain't really anything. Remember, in 2015, everybody was getting paid. But at the end of the day, that's something that we had no control of. But contracts are getting more fair. They're getting more better. The players are not getting overpaid. Players are kind of getting a little underpaid. But at the same time, these are guys that skill set players. Obviously, they shouldn't get paid 10 to 20 million just for being a spot up 3-point shooter off the bench. So this is a good pickup to me for Indiana. They don't really lose anything. They're not really overpaying them. They're not going to really ask him to do that much. He's not coming in here to be a six-man. He's not coming in here to be an anchor defensively. He's not coming in here to be a 20-point scorer. He's just coming in here to play a role. And if they need to trade him, he's a salary filler. If they want to keep him, he's a guy that's still 26 years old that can still give you some quality minutes when you need him the most. Definitely didn't see this coming. Definitely thought he would be a lot better, even though he did have weaknesses and holes in this game coming into the draft. But I felt like he did a good job of, like I said, continuing to improve. Dallas, they tried him out as salary cap filler. He had his best season, showing different signs and showing that he can really play that role. He's been a 40% three-point shooter his whole career in the NBA. Obviously, it depends on the teams and it depends on the talent. But, you know, every season he shot around over 30% besides his first year. That's something that he had to improve on if he really wanted to have a long career in the NBA because if you can't really guard nobody and you can't really blow past with that many people, you have to find a way to eat. And his way of staying in the NBA is sitting in the corner shooting threes. And he accepted that, which is humble. He knew that, which was humble. And he had to sacrifice his game to have this type of impact on a team and be able to stay in the NBA. If he would have went out there and tried to be this one-on-one ISO scorer and failed, he probably wouldn't even be in the NBA at 26. But the fact that he was able to evolve his game and become humble and know that coaches are forcing him to play this role and this is all they want from him, he's been able to get another contract, and it's a multi-year contract, something that you haven't really been seeing this year so far as all 1 or 2 year deals. This is actually a 3 year deal, so the Pacers must really like him. It does feel good to be wanted. It does feel good that a team will come to you and let them know that you are a priority because this free agency just started. And to get Doug under this contract means they really had their eyes set out for him. And at the end of the day, that's something that they got accomplished. And I'm kind of surprised that out of all the free agents this year, Doug McDermott was one of the free agents that a team will run after, especially seeing how his career has went. But that just is fun to know that a team wants to use you, a team wants you on the team, and a team is willing to give you multiple years at your age. But they are getting the bargain, especially if he can be a dead eye, kind of like a Kyle Korver or JJ Redick. This can be a valuable contract. But like I said, with Bogdanovich, with $10 million a year, he's just going to come in and basically try to give him a break and come in and fit right in with this offense. He said, I can finally be me. I can finally do me. He said that he loved being in Dallas for that first year. He was kind of surprised when they declined that option and made him become a free agent. But it also was a blessing in disguise because it allowed him to go to another team that wanted his talents. And now with this multi-year deal, he probably should be straight. But at the end of the day, we'll see what goes on with him in this Pacer team. Will he be there for all 3 years? Will he be traded? Um, is he an asset at this point? I don't really know. I just know that having a guy like him on your team is not a bad thing. Having a guy like this under this contract is not a bad thing. And he's a guy that's a professional and he's going to go out there and do what he has to do. And those are the type of guys you want, especially when you building young. He's just the same age as Victor Oladipo, but at the same time, they don't have an identity of superstar, superstar, superstar. They still trying to find that duo. They still trying to develop that core, and they still need pieces to fit around this team until they can find that other guy that can dominate alongside Victor Oladipo. You all know that big name free agents really don't go to Indiana. They don't really trade for any big name free agents, and they're not a preferred destination. So this could be Victor just making it to the playoffs and getting put out in the first round, or this could be a team that grows together, develops together, and possibly be able to draft or develop a guy into a star, probably Miles Turner, if he wants it enough. And if that does happen, it's good to have these type of role players that you can plug in with any lineup. He can play the 3, he can play the 4, and he can give you both valuable minutes at both positions. So I like it. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to be mad. Y'all guys shouldn't be super excited. Y'all shouldn't be disappointed. But at the same time, if you're Indiana, you're going to have to try eventually to find that other piece to make this team more competitive, even in the weak East. Because even if you come out the East, you still got to go against any monster out of the West. So they far from being a championship contender. but they do have the role players to trade as assets. And um, at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to try to get a superstar later in the draft if you keep trying to make the playoffs. So they in that no man's land of we have to wait and see. So at the end of the day, this is a good move. This is a good pickup, and this is a guy that's going to come in and contribute, no matter what role or position you make him play at. So check out my website, NasAPlayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page at NasAPlayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis signing out, and let me know. I'll let y'all see in the morning if anything else crazy happens as people start taking their meetings and start getting the deals offered. There should be a crazy free agency, and it's already been crazy this morning, and we'll see what happens later on in the day. Gone.